You wake up in the morning and the first thing you see is someone online announcing their goals. Another person posting about their plans. Another friend talking about success they haven't earned yet. And maybe you've done the same. You've told people what you're working on, hoping it would make you feel accountable, hoping it would make you feel closer to progress. But deep down you know the truth. Talking doesn't build anything. Talking doesn't change your life. And that's the problem most of us face. We confuse words with work. We confuse noise with growth. This book begins with a challenge. A challenge to stop announcing, stop proving, stop explaining. A challenge to focus in silence and let your results speak when the time is right. If you stay with me until the end of the summary, you'll discover why silence is not weakness but strength. You'll learn how to protect your energy, how to build discipline without applause, and how to transform your life without needing permission. And the most powerful part is this. You won't just understand the idea. You'll feel it. You'll see how it applies to your mornings, your habits, your choices. So stay with me, because what you're about to hear might change the way you approach success forever. The first third of this book is about the foundation. It's about the quiet decision you make inside yourself. That moment when you realize you've had enough of wasting time. Enough of pretending things are fine when they're not. Enough of talking about change without living it. The author reminds us that you don't need permission. You don't need approval. You don't need applause. What you need is focus. A real conversation with yourself that says, I'm done playing small. I'm done delaying. I'm ready to work. Most people spend more time talking about what they're going to do than actually doing it. They post about their goals. They share their plans. But they never build anything. Because talking is easy. Talking gives you a quick hit of confidence. But it doesn't give you results. Real progress begins when you go quiet. When you stop sharing everything and start fixing everything. When you wake up earlier. When you cut out distractions. When you stop wasting time with people who don't care where you're going. That's the beginning of something real. And here's the truth. You don't owe anyone an explanation about your goals. Not your friends. Not your neighbors. Not even your family. This is your life. And if you want to change it, you have to act like it matters. Most people won't understand your hunger. Most people won't understand your silence. That's fine. They don't have to. You're not building your life to make sense to others. You're building your life to become who you know you're meant to be. That version of you, the one you dream about, the one you've kept locked up for years, doesn't need attention. It needs action. You can keep talking about change or you can change. You can keep explaining or you can evolve. The world doesn't need to hear about your intentions. It needs to witness your transformation. There is a power in silence. A strength that grows when nobody's looking. The book asks you to start asking yourself real questions. Are you using your time wisely? Are you making the best use of your mornings? Are you training your body? Are you strengthening your mind? Are you learning new skills? Or are you just scrolling, talking, and wishing? If you want to make a real change, you have to cut the noise. Stop trying to impress people who aren't even doing anything with their own lives. Stop explaining yourself to people who don't understand growth. Every time you talk instead of act, you trade your power for comfort. And every time you trade action for comfort, you stay stuck. So take your goals seriously. Take your time seriously. Take your future seriously. Because if you don't, nobody else will. You want respect. Then build something worth respecting. You want people to take you seriously. Then take yourself seriously first. You don't have to announce what you're doing. Just get to work. Show up day after day. Improve your habits. Build your discipline. Stop skipping the work. Nobody sees it now, but one day they'll wonder how you did it. And the answer will be simple. You shut your mouth and you got serious. There is something powerful about someone who doesn't need to talk. Someone who walks into a room and their presence says everything. That's who you can become. But you have to want it badly enough. You have to be tired of being average. Tired of feeling behind. Tired of the same routine with no progress. You have to be willing to make hard choices. You have to decide that your future matters more than temporary comfort. Most people are busy being loud about nothing. Be quiet and build something. Build discipline. Build your health. Build your knowledge. Build your craft. Build the kind of life that makes people look at you and wonder how you did it. And you won't need to say a word, because your results will answer for you. The book makes it clear. If you want to win in public, you need to fight in private. You need to do the work nobody sees. You need to master the things that don't get likes. You need to grind every single day without skipping, without complaining, without waiting. Because this is your life. And no one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you a better future. You have to earn it with effort, with focus, with consistency. It's not glamorous. It's not easy. But it's real. And it works. You have a choice. Keep talking about what you're going to do or shut your mouth and do it. One path leads to excuses. The other leads to results. Close your mouth. Get serious. Stay quiet. Stay hungry. Build something that cannot be ignored. And here's where the rhythm of the book shifts. It begins to show you that progress isn't about excitement. It's about consistency. Work quietly on your goals every single day. Not once a week. Not when it's convenient. Every single day. Quietly. Consistently. Without making a show out of it. The problem is too many people want results, but they don't want to do the boring work that brings results. They want to be seen working hard, but they don't want to actually do the work when no one is watching. That's why they stay stuck. That's why they keep starting over. They keep looking for magic answers. But the real answer is this. Be consistent when it's not exciting. Keep showing up even when nobody's clapping. That's where real progress begins. If you're serious about your future, then you've got to treat your goals like they matter every single day. Not just when you feel good. Not just when you're motivated. Every day. Because life doesn't reward people who work once in a while. It rewards those who put in the time. Even when it's uncomfortable. Even when it's slow. Even when it feels like nothing is happening. Those are the people who end up far ahead. You've got to build a rhythm that works for you. Not someone else's routine. Not what looks good online. Your own pace. Maybe that means waking up earlier. Maybe it means cutting out things that waste your time. Whatever it is, make the change. Don't wait for the perfect time. That day never comes. Just begin. Start small if you have to, but start. The people who win are not the ones who talk the most. They're not the ones always announcing what they're working on. They're the ones who show up day after day, quietly, getting better, without needing to explain it to anyone. You'll see them a year later and they've transformed. But you didn't see the early mornings. You didn't see the nights they chose work over comfort. You didn't see the discipline. And you weren't supposed to, because they weren't doing it for show. They were doing it for themselves. That's the key. Stop trying to impress people. Start building something for you. Don't post it. Don't brag about it. Don't wait for feedback. Just work. Focus on the goal. Focus on the mission. Stay with it. You don't need a crowd to clap for you. You need a reason that keeps you going when it's hard. A reason that doesn't fade when things get quiet. This is the moment you've been waiting for. Not the moment to announce. Not the moment to prove. The moment to begin. To commit. To build quietly. To trust that your silence will one day speak louder than any words. And that's where the first third of this book leaves us. With a challenge. To stop talking. To start doing. To embrace the quiet. And to let discipline, not declarations, shape the future you deserve. There comes a point when silence is no longer just about protecting your energy. It becomes the very ground on which your growth stands. In the middle of this journey, the book shifts from the decision to stay quiet into the discipline of living quietly. It is here that the real test begins. Because starting is easy. Announcing is easy. Even committing feels easy in the beginning. But staying with it day after day without applause, without recognition, that is where most people fall away. The message is clear. You don't need to prove yourself. You don't need to convince anyone. You need to improve. You need to evolve. You need to face your weaknesses and do something about them. And that doesn't require noise. It requires honesty. It requires action. It requires the courage to stop pretending and start working. The world is full of people who look the part but never change. They speak about discipline but they don't live it. They dress like they're winning, but they're stuck in the same place. Why? Because they're addicted to the image of progress, not the reality of progress. They want to be seen as successful, but they don't want to endure the quiet hours that build success. This book reminds you that if you want something better, you must stop following that pattern. Stop trying to be impressive. Start trying to be effective. Doing what matters rarely looks exciting. It looks like early mornings. It looks like cutting out comfort. It looks like saying no to distractions. It looks like sacrificing now to live better later. And most of all, it looks like clarity. You cannot chase everything and expect to make progress. You must define what is important. You must know your priorities. And once you know them, you protect them. You don't compromise. You don't wait for support. You build your own reasons. You stay focused even when others don't understand. That is how serious people live. When you stop proving, you free yourself. You stop needing permission. You stop waiting for applause. You start making decisions based on your own standard. That is where real strength comes from. When you can stand alone. When you can show up without a crowd. When you can push forward even when no one claps for you. That is growth. That is maturity. That is leadership. Some people will not understand your choices. Some will doubt you. Some will think you've changed. And they're right. You have. Because staying the same means staying stuck. Growth means doing things differently. It means walking away from habits that don't serve you. It means focusing more on results than reactions. It means being okay with being misunderstood, because you're building something deeper than what people can see. You owe it to yourself to take your life seriously. Not in a rigid way, but in a clear and intentional way. Your days matter. Your energy matters. Your purpose matters. And when you stop trying to prove that to others, you finally have the space to prove it to yourself. You prove it by how you show up. You prove it by how you handle setbacks. You prove it by how you keep your word to yourself even when nobody is watching. What matters is not how many people approve of your effort. What matters is the life you build because of your effort. The inner peace you earn from showing up every day. The confidence you develop from doing what is hard and not quitting. The strength that comes from knowing you don't need to explain your path. You just need to walk it. And walking that path is not always easy. You will have doubts. You will have days when nothing makes sense. You will feel like giving up. You will wonder if it is worth it. But if you stay committed to doing what matters, the answer will always be yes. Because the results that come from that kind of effort are solid. They last. They change you from the inside out. You are not here to perform. You are not here to collect likes or validation. You are here to become who you were meant to be. And that version of you, the one with strength, with discipline, with clarity, does not need to prove anything. That version simply lives the truth. So stop talking about your vision and start building it. Stop chasing attention and start chasing progress. Stop trying to impress and start trying to improve. Do it for you, not for show, not for status, for growth, for peace, for real lasting change. One day you will look back and realize the greatest shift in your life didn't happen when someone finally believed in you. It happened when you stopped needing them to, when you got up, focused on what mattered, and followed through day by day, quietly, honestly, without needing to be seen. That is when everything started to change. And then the book turns to habits. Habits built in silence. Habits that are not announced, not posted, not shared. Because when you keep your habits private, your focus stays sharp and your effort stays honest. Most people break their own growth by needing to announce everything. They start something good and before it's even rooted, they talk about it. They post about it. They want praise for what they've barely begun. And as soon as they get that approval, the motivation fades. But habits are not statements. They are repeated actions. They are choices made daily. They are things you do without needing attention. And the more you keep them private, the more they become real. The more they grow inside of you as part of who you are. You don't need to announce that you've started waking up early. Just wake up early. You don't need to tell people you're reading more books. Just read. You don't need to explain your new schedule or show everyone your workout plan. Just follow it. Habits don't become stronger by talking about them. They become stronger by repeating them. When you do things in silence, you protect your energy. You avoid the trap of needing someone else to approve your growth. You avoid the temptation to quit just because people aren't noticing your effort. Growth doesn't need a stage. It needs consistency. It needs time. It needs privacy. At the beginning of anything, your willpower is weak. You're building something new. It's unfamiliar. You're not used to it yet. And in that fragile phase, talking about it too soon can kill the momentum. Because once you start sharing, you invite opinions. You invite distractions. You invite judgment. And all of that can throw you off. But when you keep it to yourself, you don't have to prove anything. You're not performing. You're not trying to sound impressive. You're just showing up quietly, repeatedly. That is how real change happens. That is how habits take root. That is how discipline becomes part of your identity. And this is the heart of the middle of the book. The reminder that silence is not emptiness. Silence is protection. Silence is strength. Silence is the soil in which your habits grow. And when you stay consistent in the quiet moments, when you build without needing recognition, you create a foundation that nobody can take from you. This is the discipline of the middle path. Not the excitement of beginning. Not the glory of results. But the steady, private, unseen work that transforms you. And it is here, in this middle ground, that most people quit. But if you stay, if you endure, if you keep building quietly, you will discover a kind of confidence that no applause can give. A confidence born from knowing you kept your word to yourself. Confidence that lasts. And that is where the middle third of this book leaves us. In the quiet grind. In the unseen repetition. In the private discipline that shapes the person you are becoming. There comes a stage in the journey where silence is no longer just a choice. It becomes the very rhythm of your life. The final part of this book is about living in that rhythm, about carrying your discipline into every day without needing to announce it, without needing to prove it, without needing anyone else to validate it. It is about the quiet strength that grows when you take action daily and say nothing about it. The author reminds us that the difference between those who talk and those who transform is simple. The ones who move in silence, who put in the work every single day without needing attention or approval, those are the ones who change their lives. Not the ones always explaining, not the ones always sharing, not the ones waiting for someone to notice. Quiet action, repeated consistently, is what builds results that speak louder than anything you could ever say. Everyday life gives you the chance to get better. You don't need to tell anyone what you're about to do. You don't need to prove you're serious. You show it in your discipline. You show it in your consistency. You show it in your outcomes. People waste so much time talking about what they're planning. They get addicted to the feeling of making announcements. But announcements don't create transformation. Work does. Quiet, steady, honest work done daily. You don't need a crowd. You don't need claps. You don't need to share your plans in group chats or post updates every time you take a step. Most people do that because they're looking for accountability from the outside. But accountability that lasts comes from the inside. From knowing that you don't need anyone watching for you to give your best. From knowing that you're building something for yourself, not for applause. If it matters to you, you'll show up for it. Not once a week. Not when it feels easy. Every day. Whether you're tired, stressed, busy, or bored, you show up. That is what creates change. Not the loud goals, not the dramatic declarations, but the quiet follow-through. You want to improve your health, show up. You want to become more skilled, show up. You want to turn your life around. Show up and do it without saying a word. People often mistake silence for weakness. But real strength is being able to do the work when nobody sees, when nobody praises, when nobody checks in. You know what you're doing. You know where you're going. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to defend your routine. You simply live it. The book closes with a powerful truth. Silence is not about hiding. Silence is about building. It is about protecting your energy from distractions. It is about keeping your focus sharp. It is about creating a life that works whether or not anyone sees it. And when you live this way, you discover a kind of peace that is hard to shake. You discover a confidence that doesn't depend on compliments. You discover a strength that doesn't depend on applause. Your habits will build your future one day, one action at a time. And if you stay consistent long enough, they will carry you through challenges that used to break you. You will become someone who doesn't talk about discipline, you live it. You don't post about change, you embody it. You don't announce your vision, you walk it step by step. This is how strong people live. They make moves in silence. They improve quietly. They let time reveal their transformation. And when the results finally show, they don't need to explain. The results speak for themselves. That is the mindset that wins. That is how you build a life that lasts. The book ends with a choice. You can keep talking about what you're going to do, or you can shut your mouth and do it. One path leads to excuses. The other leads to results. And the difference between the two is not talent, not luck, not opportunity. It is discipline. It is consistency. It is the willingness to build quietly until the day comes when your life speaks louder than your words ever could. So the final message is simple. Take action daily and say nothing about it. Protect your energy. Build your habits. Stay consistent. And trust that silence will one day become your greatest strength. Because when the time is right, your results will say everything. And as we close this summary, I invite you to carry this lesson into your own life. If this message has resonated with you, if you feel the power of silence and discipline shaping your perspective, then stay with us. Like this video, subscribe, and join me here on this channel, where we continue to explore books and ideas that help you grow. This is your space to reflect, to learn, and to build quietly until your own results speak for you.